Now we should be recording for YouTube, and now we should be live. Okay. Alright, just gonna wait a few minutes for folks to show up. Also waiting for the bot to turn the chat back to normal. I guess just so that I'm not taking up too much time just with dead air here. Also just waiting for the chat to turn back on. The bot takes care of that. But yeah, hello folks on YouTube and folks who might be lurking at the moment. I am Captain Floofers, and today I'm going to be streaming a bit of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. Another streamer friend of mine, Janglestorm, has been streaming Goemon games lately in an event he calls Goemonuary, and I've decided to go ahead and just jump on that train there. Let me turn the mic up a bit, actually, because maybe that'll help. I don't know. Where's the bot? Come on, bot. Turn the... turn that off, please. Okay. Okay. Well, that should do. So this is a 3D platforming kind of action adventure game for the Nintendo 64. It's my favorite game on the Nintendo 64. And it's got a whole anime cutscene opening thing, and it's sung by Hironobu Kageyama. They spared no expense here. It's pretty great. But yeah, this was. Thank you, bot. Took you a bit. Also, I forgot that subscribers only mode was on. I don't have any subscribers because I can't get subscribers right now. Oh yes, the controller pack. I am going to be saving to a memory card. Oh, I have to press the reset button. Okay. Well, let's see how well it wants to handle that. Okay. Hopefully this will be okay, because I haven't used this memory card in maybe a few years, and all of us, I don't know if it's because of the new controller I have, but the game was not having any of that with reading the memory card. So it's reformatted it a couple of times, and I might just need a new memory card. And, you know, if it gets to a point, I'll check it again, like, sometime during the week, but if it's at a point where the memory card still didn't save anything, then it's no big deal. I've played this game enough times to get back to where I was fairly easily. But I actually am playing on actual hardware. This is through an N64, and I do apologize for the video quality that might be here, because I don't have a big fancy setup like most streamers do. I just kind of have this going through standard composite through an HDMI converter, and then the HDMI is going into a capture card, which is in my computer. And I don't have a second monitor to kind of put it off to, so I'm actually looking through the streaming window on OBS to see what I'm doing. And I fully expect there to be some latency as I play, but that's okay. I've played this game a lot, and I kind of know what's going on with the. I can adjust, basically. Also, you may notice that there's no face cam, because for whatever reason the face cam does not like to work while the capture card is going. And since the capture card is internal, I really have to look up a way to get the face cam working again in order to have more face cam. So for now at least, no face cam, but that's okay, I don't need it. As long as the mic is working and you can see the gameplay footage, I'm pretty much okay. But yeah, I am playing through my N64 from when I was a lad. I've got the cartridge I got, like, I don't know, it is my cartridge, but, like, I got it off Amazon, like, 2014, 2015, something like that. This is a game that I used to rent all the time when I was younger. Like, I actually did, I did own games for my N64, but I actually first found out about this game when my friend and co-host Greg rented it at the time. And I thought it was, like, the most awesome thing. And then, like, every time we went to the Hollywood Video in town, I would rent this game if it was available, and it almost always was. And I never owned the game for the longest time, and it wasn't until, like I said, like 2014, 2015, where I was like, you know, I should actually kind of own this game because it's my favorite on the system. And it always has been, since I played it. But yeah, it just took me a long time to get it, but, you know, I've had it now for a long time. And it's one of... I don't know where else further going with it. I also got the sequel game, Goemon's Great Adventure, which is a lot more like the older Goemon games in that it's a 2D side-scroller, 2.5D side-scroller, really. And it's hard as balls. This one, though, is just like I said, it's a 3D platformer / action-adventure game. And was pretty much, like I said, Ocarina of Time before Ocarina of Time came out. This came out like a few months before Ocarina of Time did. And there are some Zelda elements to it, which really haven't been seen much in a lot of Goemon games, as far as I know. I like many others in the West, haven't played a lot of these because a lot of these haven't come over to the West. I'm not going to talk to a lot of these people. They'll say like little funny things like "Yay, aliens." Basically, what's happened is a giant peach-shaped battleship of some kind has zapped Oedo Castle and turned it into a more European-looking castle. And because Goemon and his friend Ibisumaru are the heroes, they decide to look into things. I'm going to do a little bit of showing off. That guy will steal money from you. Do not trust him. So I want to know the way to... Where's the Oedo Castle? Passing through this gate and over the Nihonbashi Bridge. Now, apparently, because of all the stuff that went on with that spaceship and whatnot, I can't exactly get in. There are these star blocks up, which are manji blocks in the Japanese version, but that's neither here nor there, that can be used to access the main bridge into the castle, but only if you have a special chain pipe, which I don't have right now. I don't remember exactly who to talk to. Is it maybe this guy? I don't know. Nihonbashi Bridge. I must say, it's a beautiful bridge. For the honor of Oedo. It's just a bridge. It's, I don't know. It doesn't look particularly breathtaking or anything like that. One of these guys will tell you, heck! One of these NPCs will tell you where to get a chain pipe. I do at least want to talk to that person, just to kind of show some sort of... I mean, I know where to go, but just to kind of show some progression to the story here. They'll mention somebody who used to actually live in these row houses. Yeah, there's nobody in here right now. And I think it's one of the people in the row houses that'll tell you. who he is and where he went. Some kind of commotion again. Does that mean your adventures are about to begin? New start for Mystical Ninja. But by the time this game came out in the West, I think the only game that came out over here was Legend of the Mystical Ninja on the Super NES. And this game does use the regular names for all the characters, but that other game changed Goemon and Ibisumaru's names to Kid Ying and Dr. Yang. I get frightened easily, so I'm afraid to go out and see. So I can't help but take a look. But in this game, everyone goes by their regular names. Because it also seems kind of weird that they would change some Japanese characters' names to Chinese ones. Yeah, see, Mokube used to live in the next door to us. He was a pipe maker, but he moved to Mount Fuji. That's why nobody lives next door. So I think it's implied that either somebody straight up tells you, or it's just implied that you have to go talk to Mokube. You didn't say anything, my dude. That was the guy 2 doors down. So I don't know. I don't know if you... I don't know. I guess they just have linked text boxes or something. Do you say something about it? I think there's somebody who straight up says, like... Yeah, Mokube, he makes chain pipes and shit. World's gonna eat that huge peach. Jody smile. Is it you? Yeah, Mokube the pipe maker who moved Mount Fuji is a UFO maniac, but for a UFO to appear after he moved, I should have taped it for him on a video camera. There's a lot of anachronistic jokes, because this is supposed to be feudal Japan, and there's stuff like robots and spaceships and apparently video cameras. I'm playing to cause trouble. Fall victim to my atomic stick. Jody smile. Thunder Gate. Well, anyway, Mount Fuji's out this way. Let's just go out this way. I was gonna buy some equipment for no reason, just to do it. I did want to, you know, just kind of. Oh, yeah, this is awesome music too. One of my favorite soundtracks on the N64 as well. Goemon's Great Adventure also has some really good music. So, before we go straight to Mount Fuji, we're going to go to this tea house here. These tea houses are semi-important, or coffee shops, I'm sorry. They're called coffee shops in this. This one in particular says, hey, you're a traveler. Oh, it's a vault. No, there is not XP in this. I think there are a couple of RPGs or something like that on the NES or SNES or something like that, but most Goemon games don't have XP in them. I like the way you said that, the enthusiasm. So they just give us a map for free. And we can use the Z button to go back and forth on the pause screen. I guess the pause screen shows our characters, what items they have, and what abilities they have unlocked. We get 2 other characters as we go. All of our key items are shown. Well, our key items are going to be shown in item 2. Any equipment that we get is going to be in item 1. And if you press Z, you get a map of Japan. And the places that are flashing are areas you've been to, or places you've been to, rather. They basically mark cities, any tea houses, and dungeons you've been to. Which will be important later, in a way. If you talk to people in tea houses, they may give you hints and whatnot, but I mean, it's not really something that I personally need. But the main reason I say that the tea houses are important is because they can act as warp points later. Yeah, Goemon has a pipe. We can also swap weapons using C left. So he also has money, which he can use as a ranged attack. I'm not going to be using that too much. There aren't a lot of ranged attacks that I particularly like using, unless it's really important to do so. And you can swap characters by pushing C down. We have Ebisumaru, who has a hammer. Other than aesthetics, and the weapons and whatnot that they get, there really isn't any difference between the characters that you get. Some of the characters look that they're running faster than others, but they all run at the same speed. They all do the same damage with whatever weapons they have. It's just whatever. There are certain special weapons that certain characters have that are useful in certain situations, which means that you'll have to change to them. Also, when we start getting character special abilities, they each have unique special abilities that are suited for certain situations. And what we picked up there is a Silver Fortune doll. There are a ton of those just littered all around the place. They basically act as pieces of heart, and when we get 4 of them, we get another, for lack of a better term, heart container on our life bar. We start off with 5. We can get a maximum of 20. There are also gold cats, which basically act as heart containers. Like full heart containers, like you only need to get one, and you'll get another heart. They don't drop from bosses or anything. They're just kind of scattered throughout the world. I kind of know where they all are, which is why I'm kind of going for them. I'm just kind of used to doing that. There may be some that slip my mind, and it's no big deal if we don't get them all, but I'm at least going to try to. It's not like getting full health is going to be all super important, especially considering that not only do we have an extendable life meter like in Zelda, but we also have multiple lives, which Zelda doesn't have. And we're going to be getting more extra lives as time goes on too, because there are extra life tokens just kind of scattered throughout the place too. Not as many as the cats, but enough to keep an eye out for. I usually pick up a couple of them just naturally in the course of a playthrough. So we're going up Mount Fuji here because this is where Mokube lives, and as we saw before, Mokube makes the chain pipe that we need to access Oedo Castle. And we'll end up going inside. These slinky guys are a pain in the ass. More often than not, there really isn't much of a way that I know of to get past them without getting hit. I'm fairly sure that some pro gamer can do it, but I am not that, so... If I had picked up some armor in town, it would have protected me against a lot of these hits, because I'll probably just pick up some armor when we get back to town, just for shits and giggles. That's usually what I do, is I just pick up armor for shits and giggles sometimes. Because that just, adds on to our already huge health bar and our multiple lives. But basically, body armor will protect you against physical hits, and helmets will protect you against projectiles. And there are also rice balls, or onigiri, that you can get, which will restore a certain amount of health if you die, kind of like a fairy in Zelda. Let's see. Okay, there he is. And I keep forgetting, does one of these have a cat out on it? I don't think so. Certainly not this one, by cursory look around. I know some of these ledges do have stuff on them, but I just can't remember if any of them are cats. This one has some money. And I may as well start, just hoarding money, because, yeah, I'll still, buy armor for shits and giggles, but there are going to be some things later on that are pretty expensive, and there are going to be situations where we'll have to use projectiles, and projectiles do cost money to use. I mean, Goemon literally throws money. But later on we have other characters that have projectile weaponry that do cost money to use. So you can talk to him. You can ask him what he's doing here. I've come to the greatest mountain in Japan so that I could train to become the greatest worker in Japan. Okay, cool. Talk to him again. Just ask him if he has a good pipe. Let me think. Well, let's see. Yes, I know. Take this. I'm honored to hand you my pipe. It attaches to the block with the star mark. And he just gives it to us for free because he's a bro. This is now possible to attach this to the star mark and cross large gaps. This is basically going to be the hook shot for the game, except it only attaches to those star blocks that we've seen before. Is this the one that's lined up with the exit? No, it's not. You can bring up a mini-map by pushing C right, by the way. This is the one that we want, because this lines up with the exit, and there's no fall damage in this game. So if we want to leave, we can just be like... I mean, yeah, we took the damage from that boulder, but we don't take damage from huge falls. Just take a drink here. I do have a nice drink on me, but just, you know, like to just kind of unwind. Nothing really to there's no drinking games or anything involved. Just playing the game. Speaking of Jangle, I mean, I know that I didn't mention him for a while, but I wonder if he'll drop by. I even told him, like, you know, it's your fault that I'm playing this. You started playing SNES Goemon games on your stream, and I didn't word it that way. I asked him permission to use Goemon Ueri in the you know, for the stream, because he inspired me to do it. That's the wordage I used, was he inspired me to do it. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. Oh, speak of the devil and he shall appear. How you doing, Jangle? Congrats again on your Zool world record. Well, that sure showed me then. Alright, actually, rice balls are pretty expensive. I'll get these. Just, yeah, that's 4 points. That's more than enough. Again, these are just for shits and giggles. Don't necessarily want to use up all my money, but these aren't really things that I particularly need, but just I like to get them. Just for the hell of it. Oh, I can't afford that. Well, that's fine. That's okay. I'll just go to Oedo Castle. May as well... Well, I don't really need to do that here. I was going to go to that inn to save the game, but... we can save out right outside. Like, every dungeon has like a signpost that you can save at. So I'll just do that. The chain pipe is separate from the regular pipe. I do still tend to use the regular pipe when fighting enemies because it's just easier to use. Like, if you use the chain pipe, it stretches out for a bit, but then you have to wait for it to come back in order to be able to use it again. So, it's kind of slow to attack, basically. Also, the standard weapons will get upgrades later, but the chain pipe will not. This is the way forward. I don't remember if I have to use the... Actually, while I'm here, let's just go into the water real quick. Because Because there is a cat over this way, and I wish that there was a way that I could swim faster. There is not right now. No, not on this screen. I'll turn the next screen. It's not like the N64 Zeldas where you can like tap the B button repeatedly to swim faster. And jumping doesn't really help. It's not like you can skip across the water, but there's another cat over here. And grabbing this will get us a full heart container here. Alright, let's head all the way back. This controller's pretty nice. There I go. Alright, no problem, Jangle. Have a good one. Thanks for dropping by. We can actually grab some money over here. And I'm fairly sure that that's not the default state of that bridge, but if it was somehow that way, that's kind of messed up, and I feel sorry for whoever has to go run errands for the royal family. Alright, so here's the... let's see what the game save. Alright. I'll save for now. In worst case scenario, the only thing I would really need the save for is to if somehow I get extremely unlucky and end up dying. I don't know if I end up getting a game over, I should say. I can die like 3 times. But if worst comes to worst and that happens, I don't know how game overs really work. Like if when you continue it takes you back to your last save point, or if it takes you back to where you just were, or what. Because I've never gotten a game over in this. I've only seen the game over screen, like looking it up on the. Yeah, so even falling down a pit like this just takes away half a heart. It doesn't take away like a whole life. There's only like one thing in the entire game. And it's like a crusher thing in the 3rd dungeon that will just straight up take away a whole life from you if you succumb to it. I still have that key, right? Oh, I don't have the dungeon map. Let me just take a peek over here. No, it looks like I still have it. So. Silver key is silver lock. There are 3 kinds of keys in the game: silver, gold, and diamond. They're honestly just kind of arbitrary. Very, very rarely are you in a position where you have more than one key, or really have a choice of locks to open. Like, oh, this is this kind of a lock, but I don't have that kind of a key. It's actually pretty linear. With how the dungeons and whatnot are set up. And all the keys are set up in such a way that you never have more than one of a kind. So, like, as you saw, like, in that last room, I mean, we just got a silver key, but, like, that was right after using a silver key to get there. And over here we have a Mr. Elephant. as it's called in this game. Normally, the elephants are used as checkpoints in the side-scroller games, but in this game, it gives you the dungeon map, like when you get a map in the Zelda game. So now we have this neat little map here. We can see what keys we have. We can use the A and B buttons to scroll floors. It'll only ever show us where we've been. There isn't a... It's not like in most Zelda games where like you can see where you've been by default, and then when you pick up the map, you can just see the entire dungeon. The map is just to bring up the map screen at all. And they are, much like the maps in Zelda games, very much optional things. But I'm just used to getting a lot of this stuff. We don't even have to do this either. I'm just doing this to... I mean, we don't have to go across that platform. Just hop right up on those. But I do have to use the platform to get over to the cat. Platforms like horseshoe crabs, I just noticed. I don't know why I suck at jumping all of a sudden. And there is some latency, but the latency isn't that bad, so that's not the problem. The problem is just me being bad at video games, which is a common occurrence, so stay tuned for more of that crap. You do have manual control of the camera. You have to just hold down R and then you can press the C buttons to move around, kind of like in Mario 64. Although I don't think Mario 64 should use the R button. I think it just straight up use the C buttons, if I remember correctly. So here you just kill all these floor panels as they come after you. And once you've killed enough, that'll spawn the key for that exact door. I'm fairly sure we have to go this way to get a key in order to progress anyway. So let's go this way before we go across the gap. And our helmet's all used up. And that giant statue is foreshadowing. These guys. And there's another key. What's a gold key this time? Now I know across the gap there are two rooms. One of them is progress. I think the other one's just kind of like a side room with some treasure in it. I mean, I'm all for treasure, so yeah, that's the gold blocks. That's progress. And there's indeed just so many pots in here. This one actually have more in them than normal. Well, at least the middle one did. Granted, the big money items that we need for progression aren't going to be until much, much later in the game. Like, the first one I can think of costs 300, and that's like right before the 4th dungeon? And And there's 5 dungeons in the game total. Oh, and this is another thing I like about about the dungeons in this game is the progressive soundtrack. So we've basically passed a certain point in the dungeon, and in this newer area, it will actually develop the music a bit more and put more instruments and whatnot in it. That does mean that if we go back to the like the beginning of the castle, it'll go back to the like the older version of the music. But it is really cool that as you go, the music basically gets better as you progress in the dungeon. What you gotta do here is you notice that the third stamper doesn't come down. So we gotta jump over onto it. Because there's a key. And that's how you progress. You can actually skip most of this room if you want to. You can go along the path. If that's what you want to do. You do at least have to go along this part, though. But the platforms are easily accessible from the water, so. I usually just like skip half of that. It's not like I'm missing out on much. They're just like some spike ball traps. That would likely be a pain in the ass otherwise. And I have played this game a couple times on YouTube as well. One time I played it like 5 million years ago on an emulator. That's been at least, I wouldn't say at least 10 years, almost 10 years ago I played it on an emulator. Maybe around 10 years ago, I don't know. Maybe a little over. It was between 2011 and 2013 I played this, and I couldn't finish the game because of, there's probably like some copy protection stuff on there that basically made it so that the final boss battles didn't spawn. The game froze. So I couldn't actually finish the game. I think I got to like the penultimate boss, and like the game would stop loading. And then I did a quote-unquote drunk speedrun a couple years back. Granted, I didn't know any of like the speedrun strats or anything like that. It was just kind of a thing where I was just kind of rushing through the game to see how well I could do it while I was drunk, but also how fast I could do it. And I think I ended up doing like 4.5 hours. I'm taking my time with this one though. This run though, so this will probably take like 1 or 2 streams to. I mean, I don't expect to finish it tonight. Possibly by next week though. It depends on how leisurely I decide to take my pace here. And if we do finish it like within the next couple of weeks or so, I'll think about starting Goemon's Great Adventure. But that's a game that I am not nearly anywhere near as good at compared to this, and that would take quite a while. And I already have other stuff that I want to stream, so we'll see what happens. But I guess depending on how long it takes to beat this game, I might at least start it, but I don't know if I'd be able to finish it because Greg and I started a Let's Play of it a few years ago, a couple of years ago, really. And we got to like, we were actually doing co-op as well, and we got to like the first level, I think, in the third world, and the game was kicking our ass to the point where we were like, yeah, let's not play this anymore. that might be something I'll do, like, just focus on completing, like, some point in the future, but for right now, there are a couple of other things that I want to do after I'm done with this. Stuff that I've been actually planning to do for quite a while. Basically playing, there's like a old game that that many people like just know by the back of their hands that I've never completed without using a guide or save states or whatever. And the last time I even finished the game that way was like well over 10 years ago, so I figure it might be fun to kind of go through the game. Zelda 1, by the way. Yeah, I know everyone knows Zelda 1. Everyone knows Zelda 1 by the back of their hands. I know a lot of speedrunners on Twitch, and let me tell you, most of them play Zelda 1. Oh yeah, basically this boss is pretty easy. You just gotta hit his chin. Watch out for lasers. He also breathes fire on you. I know I'm just kind of being a chatty Cathy, but you'll probably get hit with a laser if you just YOLO it like I do. But I have plenty of health, so I can tank it. Just keep at it. Eventually, he'll explode. But this is the large statue that we've been seeing up to this point, like where the giant hand was. We saw the bottom of the statue. We saw the torso of the statue. This is the head of the statue. That's what I said. What I meant when I said foreshadowing. It's the boss of the level. But yeah, I'm going to. I think I have that listed for after this, because I'm going to play Quake as well. And I can't remember if I'm going to be doing Zelda first or if I'm going to be doing Quake first. But with Zelda, I plan to play through it best I can with no guides, no save states. I'm going to take notes. It's going to be a whole thing. I've gone out of my way to avoid watching like people play Zelda on stream, just so that I'll have like as little knowledge going in on the game. I mean, obviously there are some things that have been retained in my memory and that I'll never forget, so there's no avoiding that. But you know, it's been kind of a challenge avoiding watching people play Z1, because, like I said, I know a lot of people who play Z1 a lot. Like Pronzo plays Z1 a lot, and I felt bad like dipping out of Pronzo's streams so that I could avoid gaining any knowledge on Z1 before I go into the semi-blind playthrough. But it's basically just like a thing where, like, these are games that I'm not very good at. I mean, there are some games that kind of go under an overarching quote-unquote series, I guess. And there's some that are like side-scrolling games that I don't really need guides for. It's just more, can I get good enough at the game? It's basically just kind of a way, because these are games that I don't normally care for normally. I mean, playing them, I'll watch other people play them all day long, but like I want to see if I can just like play them myself in the mindset of like how someone, you know, back then would have played it, and see if I have more of an appreciation for the game. Except Z2, because fuck Z2. I'm never playing Z2 ever again. But we will be playing Z1. I think I have Z1 lined up after Goemon, and if I like it enough, I'll play Second Quest and one of the ROM hacks that was really popular around Halloween. Anyway, we've saved Lord and Princess Yuki, and they're like, alright, these guys are shooting instant stage beams at our castle. We want you guys to go stop them. Here's a pass that will get you out the main gate for town to basically go toward the next dungeon, basically. We don't really know where the next dungeon is off the top of our heads. I mean, I know where it is, but we'll stumble across it, basically. We're following the clues, as it were. Before we go on, I'm going to go back into the castle. Partially just to kind of... I'm going to grab some more of this money in this front room here, because the money will always respawn. And there are a lot of... One of the strategies with the speed run, because you do need, like... something to the tune of, like, 1,500 to 2,000 money, by the end of the game for different things to progress. And one of the things that people do in a speedrun is they'll just sit here and farm money for a little while. I'm just going to grab a little bit of money, but the main thing I'm back here for is that there was a room that we couldn't access while Congo was active. And you may remember one of the side rooms I went off to, the hallway was blocked by a giant hand. Well, that hand was Congo's hand, and now that Congo is dealt with, that hand will no longer be there. And, essentially the room has a boatload of money and a cat. And like I said, even though I don't necessarily care if I miss a cat here or there, I do still want to try to get all the cats. Okay. I think that may either be latency or the game's eating my inputs. Either way. That usually doesn't take that many tries. So yeah, there's a bunch of money in the cat, and I do want to try to get all the cats, even if, you know, I may end up missing one. I basically know where they all are, but at the same time, usually when I do like casual playthroughs on my own, like intending to get all the cats from memory, there's usually like one or two that I forget. Skip through here. Let me just double check where exactly the room is. Didn't pass it already, did I? Oh, it looks like I might have done. Hold up. Through here? Oh. I forgot it's actually on the map screen by default if you just go to it. Oh no, I was going the right way. Okay. I was going the right way the first time. I swear I know this game. It's just been a few years of play. I'm rusty. That's gonna be my excuse for right now. I'm just rusty. I need to come up with a, just for laughs, just come up with, like, a list of excuses. And then, like, just kind of find one and read off it every time I fuck up. Like, I am being bad at video game because the weather is cold today. Yeah, we weren't able to cross over this pit before because there was a big hand in the way. So go into this room, and there's a lot of money on the ground. I'm fairly sure that it spells out a word of some kind. in Japanese, but my Japanese is not fluent enough to know what that word is, so... C'est la vie. We're mainly here for the doll, anyway. And the downside is there isn't a quick way out. We do have to backtrack to get out of the dungeon. That's okay, because usually backtracking through rooms is usually a little bit easier, because oftentimes going through the rooms toward, the correct direction, there's going to be, like, obstacles and whatnot, and if you fall into the obstacle, there'll be a way to get back up onto your path that's back where you started. And I just kind of falling into the water wherever I have the chance. This leads me to a quicker way back to the, basically quicker way backwards without having to deal with the obstacles, like here. Although walking is quicker than swimming. But yeah, see, that's easier than having to jump over them. I guess we'll go back through here. And the music loops back to the first floor iteration. Swim back through here. And then because it's respawned, I'll grab the money in the entry room again, just to have it. Although what will probably end up happening ultimately is that I'll, because I'm getting armor for no reason, I'll just spend it all on armor and then not have enough to buy the things I need later. But I'll likely just come back here to farm for money, because you can get money really quickly in here. And once we have the ability to just fast travel, we can come right back here, because dungeons are fast travel points. So I can just pop right into the entryway and free money. Let's save the game while we're here. And because I'm good with money, I'm just going to go ahead and buy some armor for no reason. Told you it was going to happen. I don't know if you believe me or not, but I did say it was going to happen. So now the way, I believe it's the way north is open? No, we're going west. Not that it really matters, because the way west and north from Oedo Town kind of go through the same kind of sub-area anyway. And those, unlike Zelda, there really isn't a massive, overworld area like Hyrule Field or anything like that. It's a bunch of smaller interconnected areas. So there really isn't as much of a sense of size, like Ocarina of Time would have, for example. Which is why, that game has gotten a lot more recognition than this one over the years. Even though this one came out, like I said, probably about, I think Ocarina of Time released in November of 1998 over in the States. And I think this game dropped in April. I think that's how it went down. I also like how they call that hat a sombrero, when it's clearly not that. I mean, I know sombrero is just, like, in general Spanish for hat, but regardless. Oh my god, this is the Lord's Super Pass. With this, the gate will open. Normally these guys are blocking the way. You actually had to get the said Super Pass from the first dungeon in order to be able to even progress here. This is Musashi. I'm fairly sure Musashi is an actual area in Japan. A lot of these places are, like, or at least are or were actual areas in Japan. But sometimes I like to have fun and think of, yeah, it's the guy who guy who dies in Getter Robo all the time. That way is to the north. We'll be going that way much later in the game, so we're going to go this way instead. Damn it. It's just out of reach. And we're going to be going out through Iga, I believe. And Iga has another character that, if you're familiar with the series up to this point, another very important character in the series. Sort of. I mean, yes, he's a very important character in the series. He was in this the SNES one that we all know and love, but the old wise man at Iga makes an appearance in this game, and we're going to be going right by his house, so may as well drop in and say hi if we can go up these cliffs properly. I swear I'm good at this game. I think one of these ways goes to a cat, if I'm not mistaken. No, just some money. I could be mistaken on the cat, though. I forget how many cats are total are in the game, but there are quite a few. There's a full heal dumpling if we need it. I do not. I say dumpling. They are dango, which is a specific type of dumpling. But they do, because of the localization, they do tend to overgeneralize a lot of the food names, which is understandable, I suppose. This was back in the late 90s, back before, you know, everyone knew every single thing about Japanese culture. Oh. Well, the old man's house just exploded. So I guess we're not going to be seeing him at the moment. Kind of sucks. Oh my. See this? It's the Triton shell that summons gigantic robot Impact. Wise Man had it. And so is this rubble all that remains of Wise Man's house? Ooh. Oh, hey, it's that guy from the dungeon. You're the weirdo. You're the weirdo from Oedo Castle. Not only Oedo Castle, but now the Wise Man's home. How senseless can you be? Yeah, weirdo is like, is like the, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like the collective term that they used for these folks for a while. because they don't know exactly who they are. Now I get to one of the more exciting parts of the game. And that is the Goemon Impact sections. And every time Impact shows up, he's got his own theme song that he plays. And it is sung by Ichiro Mizuki. Again, they spared no expense when it came to the presentation in this game. See, it's him. You can move his head around with the control stick if you want. Part of me does want to kind of, well, actually, the translation job. Most of the song seems to be accurate, but where he said Super Punch, it was actually Gatling Punch. And where he said I am the best, it was actually I am gorgeous. And because the at that point in the second verse says I am charming. It's basically this little mini game. Just destroy stuff to try to get as much money and fuel as you possibly can. I think this carries over into the boss battle we're going to be having. Running into the larger pagodas will basically knock you over. You can trip over the bridges, and you can fall down the little pits. So just be careful. Also, I did mention earlier that there aren't a lot of places that can just outright take a life. The robot boss battles are a bit harder than the standard gameplay that we've gone up to this far. And if you do die in the boss battle, it will take a life away from you. Luckily, the game saves before each of these boss battles, so it's not that big a deal. You can just go back in with 3 full lives. Yeah, it's just one of the few places where you can get a game over if you're not careful, but that still really hasn't happened to me before. There are different commands with like A, B, and whatnot. I actually wrote down all of the attack commands for Impact on a little sticky note thing on my my computer's desktop because I can never remember what some of them are. Essentially, it's just like using your chain pipe to reel them in, doing a nice little combo attack here. You can also do this, the Gatling Punch. You can also use the Z button to fire little bullets. B and A buttons basically punch. The R button is the chain pipe. And there are also little combos like I've been doing, the punch and kick combo. And there's also a super laser that's currently fully charged up, as you can see by the blinking on the panel in the center. And then, I mean, you can basically just do the laser whenever you feel that you have a shot. It does take a bit to charge up, so I usually wait until they're doing some kind of, like, there's like a super move that like each of these guys will do, like right now. I'm trying to make it happen, but... Oh, okay. I kept thinking it's basically a rotation of the a clockwise rotation of the C buttons, and then the Z button. For the longest time, and I even wrote it down this way on my little notes here. For the longest time, I thought it was 2 rotations, because that's what it said on the box from Hollywood Video. No, we don't need you to do your super attack again right now. I need more basic power. Okay. Now you can do it if you want, but you're going to die. So, I may as well just, yeah, there's just 1 rotation. I'm actually gonna take that into account on my notes here. Okay. That's the boss battle. This one was pretty easy in comparison to the others, but none of them are super hard. But it is a little bit difficult to get used to compared to, like I said, the standard gameplay, so go through that, and now we're back on our way. And he's filming a movie, apparently. He has to get to America. Last I checked, we didn't have movies in feudal Japan, but we didn't have in feudal Japan times, but didn't have giant robots either. So, like I said, it's very, very goofy. So now we have another problem on our hands. The wise man appears to have been shoved off this mortal coil, and that's kind of a problem because he helps us out with stuff. I don't know, maybe we'll run into some other allies, like right here. Oh, there's a cutscene. And here we go. And it's Yae, who is a secret agent ninja lady, who, I think she first showed up in... It was either Legend of the Mystical Ninja, or the whatever game came before it on the NES, or the Famicom, or whatever. She was in the Super Nintendo one that we got, though. She just wasn't playable until... It was either this game, or one of the games on the SNES, but she wasn't always a playable character. So she basically tells us all that she's found out about our adversaries here, who are the Peach Mountain Shoguns. And that's really all they have is a name. I don't know anything about, like, the Flake Gang in general. I don't know if they're, like, from another game or whatever, because they never, at least in the games that come out in America, I've never really seen any other mention of the Flake Gang. But specifically the sect of the Flake Gang that are the Peach Mountain Shoguns are the ones that we're fighting in this game. But that's all we have as a name, but a name is, better than nothing. When it comes right down to it, it's the mighty number 9 of information. So I don't remember exactly who gives us the information as to where to proceed. I may just stop asking around because I know where to go. And you don't really... There's only like 1 or 2 spots in the game where you actually have to need to talk to people in order to, set certain flags to progress. You know what? Fuck it, I'll buy the helmet. Because I waste money. And, yeah. So, we have to go through the Goro-Ohashi Bridge to get to, basically, the plot point that's popped up here is that, there is a village in... Let me look at the map, see whereabouts. It's in the, like, over here. Not Kyushu, but whatever that island is. I don't remember what that island's called. Where children are disappearing, especially children who are good at dancing. And I think there's at least one person here who had a child that was good at dancing. In order to get to that island, we have to or we have to go there through like a travel agency or whatever. There was the travel agencies, at least in the later SNES games, were warp points to get from area to area. But in order to get through, go to where the nearest one is in just west of here. I can't remember a lot of the names of the places. Sorry. But we have to, with the person who's talked about Benkei guarding a bridge, we have to get past Benkei. And I think the bridge is actually on the other side, where we just were. In fact, I'm positive that's where he is. Through this door. Yep, there he is. Hey, stop right there. If you want to get by here, hand over the treasure you have. I have no treasure with me. Poverty-stricken, good for nothing. So he collects things, and he wants something from our collection in order to get us to get him to let us pass. But he's actually the underling of a guy named Ushiwaka, who basically hangs out right over here. Except he's also kind of stuck up and an asshole, and I think I actually went the wrong way. I would do that. There's also a cat up this way, but we can't get up this way yet. That's actually one of the... I remember one of the playthroughs of this where I was trying to get all of the cats based off memory. That was one of the cats that I had missed. Because you can't actually get it until you come back here with another character's ability. But here he is. There's Ushiwaka. And he's like, do you know Benkei? And he's like, yeah. He's like a follower to me. You're trying to get across the bridge. Well, then I can help you get past him, but you have to do my fishing for me, basically. Even though I have a fishing rod right here, I don't feel like doing work. So, this is a video game, so you do the work for me. So there are these blue, yellow, and red fish in the creek, and you have to get 3 blue ones, and if you get a wrong colored fish, it's not going to count anything against you. You're just going to say, no, that's not a blue fish. So that's not going to count toward your number. And you go back to him. You go back to him, talk to him. He's like, yay, now get him 5 yellow fish. So there's one, and the fish aren't hard to catch. You just walk up to them. Even if they run away from you, it's very easy to corner them and pick them up anyway. And there's the last one in this corner here. You can go the other way to get fish as well. This is just the way I usually go. Not fish. Here's your yellow fish. And now he wants 8 red fish. And none of the fish are like harder to get than any of the others. They're just it's just a matter of just going where they are and finding them. And with the red fish, I usually go the same way that I get the others. And then I usually end up going back the other way to get the rest. And it's the only group of fish that I do that with. That should be 4. I know the game will tell me when I have enough, but... Yeah, I have 4. Yeah, I know it's not a red fish. Nobody cares. Quickly jumping does seem to go a little faster. Oh. Grab you. 6. And there. Alright, so just bring these back to Ushiwaka. And while he could be a bro and just outright tell Benkei, knock it off and let these guys through, he instead gives us an item to use in a minigame. And it's just kind of like a log that we throw at him. They call it an Achilles heel. I don't know why they call it that. I don't know what they call it in Japanese version, but I'm fairly sure they don't call it Achilles heel. I can see in your eyes you want to fight. Benkei is an actual historical figure in Japan. I don't remember the exact folklore surrounding him, but he was an actual person. And he was known for using, like, a naginata. So basically you have to, throw the B button. Use the 3 button and throw the logs at him. If your timing is off, he'll either jump over them, or he'll hit them with his naginata. You just gotta kind of time it so that you hit him, basically. Ever since the Achilles heel was put on Benkei, Achilles heel was meant to be the weak point of someone. That's not where that terminology comes from. But whatever. Apparently Ushiwaka did this to him as well. So he'll let me cross the bridge whenever I want, and he gives me something from his collection, which is Sasuke. And Sasuke, was also from the SNES games. He was first playable in the second SNES game, at least from what I've seen. Came falling from the sky just the other day. Well, if by just the other day you mean like 20 minutes ago, because that's when the house blew up. And that's where Sasuke lives. So we have Sasuke in our party technically, but he's not working right now, so we can't actually swap to him and play as him yet. Now we've got some more jams. Feel free to, if possible, use a dancing emote of your choice. If you don't have any, by default, I do have a handful available to use if you have Franker Facey or Better Twitch TV. This big old building we can't get into right this second, but there is a side area that we can go to that will not only unlock that, but will also give us a few like cats and things. I mean, there's 2 cats in the building, in the Yamato building. This turtle stone has obviously there's a stone in between, or in the middle of things. And you can push it in either of these 4 directions, and either of these 4 directions will give you things. So if you push it this way, this will take us to a side area. This way will actually get us a cat. We can just do that right now. Actually, let's read the other 2. This way will give us a bunch of money, and this way will open up the Yamato Shrine. So let's start by getting the cat. And we can push to all 4 of these directions. It's not like we have to choose one. We can just jump over it and off the platform, apparently. So let's like this. Push it back into the middle, and then into another direction. Because there's no limit on the number of times you can do this. I mean, it'll still only give us each prize basically once each. So like, even though this gives us a lot of money, and lags out the game quite a bit, it'll only give us the money the one time. So we can't use this to farm for money or anything. Again, we have other avenues if we really need money. It's not gonna be too much longer until we unlock fast travel, and we can just go back to Oedo Castle for money. Now the other 2 will just like warp us. I'm gonna do this way so it'll just warp us right to the Yamato Shrine, and the door is just open. And the object here, this is just kind of a side area where we can get 2 more cats. Can actually jump up ladders that way, cool. As well, that's kind of cool. Fairly sure speedrunners do that. I think one of the cats is down here? No, it's not. Again, there's no fall damage, but if you do drop off, it can take you a while to get back to where you were, which is unfortunate, but it happens. Go up the ladder, please. No, one of these platforms or whatever has a cat on it. Unfortunately, there's not really like a first-person mode to go into to look. This is as close as I can get. Oh, there it is. I don't know why I thought that was a dumpling. But, we'll just grab the one at the top first and then go back for that one. Oh, there's also a... This is a, an extra life. So now we're even more immune to getting a game over. Oh dear. Well. There's a bit more platforming at the top that we need to do to get the cat. The way that the platform is kind of lined up, it can be difficult to see where platform basically ends, and that's pretty much what happened to me there. I misjudged where the platform ended, and I ended up jumping too late. There's the one cat. Bottom, and the other cat is just, it's nearer to the bottom. There. I don't know why I thought that that was a dumpling when I was on my way up, but that's the reason I bypassed it the first time. I forgot that I thought it was the wrong item. I know where things are, it's just sometimes I get details crossed because I don't play this game as often as I'd like. To be fair, I also don't have my my N64 hooked up, like, anywhere normally. I think this is the first time it's been turned on, even in, like, I don't know, like a year? When was the last time I even used it? It's probably one of my Let's Plays. So either this or, I think it was when I was last played Goemon's Great Adventure for YouTube, was the last time I'd actually used my N64. This is a Awaji Island. This is actually where our next objective is. But now that we've pushed the Turtle Stone in that direction, we can use the gate to warp to this area here. And this is the only way that you can get to this area. Husband and wife rocks. And this area can be a bit laggy because it's... I think it's because of how everything is loaded in. It's a large enough area, but it only has like this little bit of land and whatnot in it. So you can see further. And I think that might be affecting the memory or whatever. See, when I watched Jangle play the second Goemon game on the SNES, I noticed that a lot of the enemies in this game were actually in that game first. Or at least the enemy designs. I've never seen the like the flying little lion heads and the like these guys here, and like the robots that kind of look like dolls. I think they look different in. Anyway, if we head this way, if we go this way, it'll take us through like a short, like intermediate area to go back to Yamato. There is a surprise pack with an extra life back here. All surprise packs have extra lives, but it's another extra life for us. And I do want to go into the tea house because that will mark this as a fast travel point. As much as we're not going to use it, I still like to have them, the fast travel points, like active. But I know we're never gonna come back here. But again, it's just like me. It's just like me buying the armor. It's like no reason to do it, but I just do it anyway. And there's a cat over there. It's just the kind of stuff I do on casual playthroughs, so... This is a casual playthrough, so I'm doing it. So the, what do you call it? The travel agency is just right over here. There it is. You head on in. You talk to the nice lady, and she's like, Shikoku. That's where we're meant to be heading. And it's like, the dragon has suddenly gone wild. The dragon that normally would take us to Shikoku. And I'm like, I'll help you deal with that. Like, okay. This will teleport us onto the back of the dragon. And I think that it was mentioned that there was the dragon was going around taking all the kids. Maybe the dragon needs to take a seat over here. This is an area that my brain usually registers. I mean, this isn't hard, but it's like this is one of the harder areas in the game. Because it can be easy to fall off. And falling off doesn't kill you outright or anything. But I do remember losing a life or two on here one playthrough. But like in the castle, all falling off the dragon will do is take away like half a heart. But there's a mini-boss at the end, too, so that's where it can be a problem. Because if you fall off, it takes you back to the end of the tail, and you have to walk all the way back over to the mini-boss. So I'm going to go ahead and equip the chain pipe. This is the control machine for the dragon that the Peach Mountain Shoguns put on him. Kids with dancing talents using this dragon. The almighty Colon. I'm so smart. You're also very unfortunately named. Which is why I usually just pronounce it as colon and not, like, you know, colon. Because basically the four weirdos, basically, they all look like Baron did. Baron is the blue guy from the first dungeon in the right before the robot battle. They all have the same, sprite, basically, but they're all palette swaps of each other. And, they're all similarly named like that. So Colon is just like is like the second one of the four. Okay. See, this guy can be kind of a pain in the ass to try and hit because of how the dragon is banking. It can throw off your aim. But the reason I use the chain pipe here is because I feel a bit safer doing this rather than trying to run up to it and hit it with a regular pipe. Because that's just, you know, more movements I can get wrong that will, you know, lead me to fall off the dragon or something like that. So I just do this to be on the safe side. But basically just this, just wait for it to stop attacking, because you can't hit it while it's glowing yellow like that. Just wait for it to stop attacking and hit it. So yeah, not a hard area, but it is probably it's one of the more annoying areas in the game. So now we're in Shikoku. And there's this little boy here now. But long story short, this is Koryuta. He's actually the dragon. He can turn into the dragon, and he was under mind control, and now he feels bad about capturing all the kids. So in order to help us out, he's actually going to give us a flute that will call him, and we'll be able to use that for fast travel. But the flute is basically an item. It's wielded like a weapon, but it's not really a weapon. It's one of Yai's items, so we have to switch to Yai in order to fast travel, basically. Which is not a big deal. It's just swapping over to her with the C down button. But we haven't really had to change characters, so or at least not up to this point. So now we'll have a reason to fairly shortly. Go back to being a tourist as soon as you possibly can. Okay, so here's us him giving us the flute. And basically, Yai will say, "Okay, I can play the flute. I can take that." And then Bisumaru's going to be like, "Well, I can play the flute too." Like, good, we'll give it to Yai. That invokes some canned laughter, apparently. Inside a building such as a castle or store, won't be able to hear the flute. Okay, so we basically can't do it in dungeons. So I'm going to pop into Folky Poke Village here. That's what they called it in this version. I don't know why. We'll set this up as a fast travel point. And now Compira Mountain has hot jams, for the lack of a better term. So again, if you have dancing emotes and would like to use them, this is a good opportunity to do so. Oh, I forgot to unequip the chain pipe. That would have actually helped if I had the regular pipe out. So you basically got to go through a few of these staircases here. There really isn't much of a story reason to come this way, but there is an item that we're going to be using fairly shortly that we get at the top of the mountain. At least from the shrine at the top of the mountain. Compira Mountain was one of those places that I looked up, and I don't know if I could find it. Like, there were a few places that I've looked up on, like, Google Maps and found. In Zazen Town, there's a path that leads up Mount Norigatake, which is very much smaller in comparison to, like, how big it actually is, obviously, but in the game. That's an actual place, and it has, like, well, I mean, we'll see it later. It has, like, a whole big fire show that goes on with it. So, apparently there's, like, a money god that's up here, and we have to offer it... money, much like folks do at shrines. In the real world, they enter money in, and they pray. But in this case, the god of money, I guess. I didn't know that there was a god of money in the Japanese pantheon, but, you know, that I could just have not looked into it as much as more of the well-known gods. But basically, this means that we can charge up our Ryo, and it will turn into a fireball. I guess this is kind of a way of giving Goemon a fourth item without giving him a fourth item, really. Because each character can only get up to 3 items or weapons. It's just that some of them can be charged or powered up or whatever. So we can just go straight back to Folky Cove Village without having to go back through all that shit if we don't want to. And it is a tiny bit quicker than just going down the mountain manually. Unfortunately, I don't think that there's a way that you can skip this cutscene. I don't know if there's like some speedrun strats that can do that, but I'd actually take us back to this entrance. What can we do over here? This is the travel agency on the other side, so we could like pay money to go back to Awaji Island if we really wanted to. But if we wanted to go back to Awaji Island, we could just get the dragon to take us. So that's pointless, basically. There is a cat in these hay bales. We can't get at it yet. I'm just kind of like scouting the area, seeing if there's anything that I remember being accessible to us. That's where we came in from the dragon. I'll go ahead and save the game. Oh, no, I don't want to spend the night. Adventure Diary. There we go. I think that's a shop. I'm not going to buy any new armor while we're here. If anything, I might buy new armor later on when we have access to it. This is actually where we came in the first time. Yes. That's a fortune teller. We don't need that until much, much later. basically we hear some things about hot springs nearby, like all of the children were taken in this direction. I'm just kind of skipping talking to people because I don't normally talk to people. I would do a lot more talking to people like I was doing in Oedo Town if I specifically knew which people would give us the information that we quote unquote need. But I don't feel like talking to every single person to try to quote unquote find out that information, so I'm just not going to. Swap back over to the katana. It's basically just like a straight shot to where we need to go. I'm just kind of going on these side paths because sometimes we can get money. Mostly keeping an eye out for, if I remember, there's like cats in the area. I could have sworn there was a cat there, but that was apparently just money. There is an area, I think right here, though. Yep, the Vine Bridge. There is a cat here, and this bridge is a bit of a pain in the ass. In fact, I'm going to swap to Goemon and equip money, because this is the easiest way to take care of these enemies from afar. And the main reason I want to do that is because these lighter parts of the bridge, I don't completely fall through it, those will give way if you run on them or jump on them. And the object of this area is to kind of sneak across. And if any of those flying enemies like run into you while you're trying to cross, they can trip you up and make you fall down these lighter areas. So you kind of gotta like do this. Because if you go like much faster than this, you're gonna fall through it. Now the thing is, there is a cat down there on like an island in the center of the river. And you have to fall down one of these sections in order to get at it. I think it's this one. Yeah. Oh. Great. Yeah, so those two center ones are on either side of the island, and you kind of just have to get lucky and walk down on the little island to get the cat. I think I've tried jumping off, if I remember correctly. I mean, I could be wrong, but jumping doesn't really work well on those sections. If they're already falling, then jumping off doesn't really help you out. You can go this fast. Whoa. As long as you're not in the running animation, you should be good. But I do like to do the sneaking animation just to be on the safe side. And as soon as you hear the footsteps being normal again, you're clear. Alright, there we go, got it. That's the only cat that's here, if I remember correctly. So now we gotta go across the bridge for reals this time. And the two central sections are, at least the sections that drop are small enough so that you can just kind of jump over them, but I don't know if I really want to risk it. Because knowing my luck, I'll undershoot my jump, and then I'll like just land on one, or I'll like overshoot and jump, like land on the other one. So I just want to be careful so I don't have to end up going across the bridge a fourth time. In this case. Just, note the sound cues, and make sure that you have the analog stick under control. Jody's smile. Oh. Alright. Well, I jumped over them. Take out that guy. He's gonna be a problem. Sometimes the camera doesn't like to 100% cooperate with you, but this is a 3D game from the 90s. Before... a time before dual analog sticks were the norm. And, it was Alien versus Predator. For the... it was like some Alien or a Predator game. Or Alien vs. Predator game on the PlayStation 1. Set the standard for dual stick control in a lot of these games. Where, you know, the right stick will move the control. At least for first-person shooters. I remember reading at the time, because I didn't pay much attention to the PlayStation around that time, because I didn't have a PlayStation. But I remember people, like, scoffing at the that control layout, and now it's, like, the standard for first-person shooters at the very least. But yeah, I don't really have a control stick with which to precisely control the camera in this. I have the C buttons and they're holding down the arm, pushing the C buttons. But that like moves the camera like, you know, a set amount. And sometimes the camera, just like, again, much like these games tend to do, does like to just do whatever it wants sometimes, and not always fun. Now that I'm mentioning, like, you know, using a right analog stick for camera control, because of the way that this new I got one of those Brawler 64 controllers by Retro Fighters, and my thumb is wanting to reach down to a right analog stick to control the camera, but that's not a thing on here. It does have 2 triggers for Z button though. That was kind of a fun addition there, and they're analog triggers too, which is odd because the Z button was a digital button. It wasn't analog. So basically, over here is the entrance to Hot Springs, but it's closed tight and we can't get in. There's a small hole on this side, but there's no way we can get in. There's no keyhole or anything. There's nobody that will give you like any intuition as to how to get in. Well, there is a person over here in the tea house, and we actually have to speak to a person in the tea house in order to be able to progress. This is one of the few times where we actually have to do so. Now, some of these other folks will say, like, well, he's talking about the dragon. Yeah, on one side of the door leading into the Dogo Hot Springs of Io, there's a small hole. I expect only a dwarf could enter the hole. Okay. I really don't want to use that word, because that could be considered offensive to some people these days. So, I don't think anybody else really says that word, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to do like I did in Yume Nikki and say mini. Yes, Chapman, the Z button does make him do the secret worm move. Welcome in, by the way. And, maybe Samaru does this. So you have to talk to this person. She said she saw a mini in Zazentown. It was kind of cool looking, but also looked real mean. So we had to go back to Zazentown now, and luckily, because we have fast travel, we can just go there. Just like this. So now we gotta look for someone who's cool looking, but also small. And we do know somebody who allegedly is cool looking, but is also kind of an ass. And that's Ushiwaka. So let's see if Ushiwaka knows anything about this. He's off this way, just so I don't go the wrong way again. And look at it, it's Ushiwaka, and he is small. It hasn't been that long. It's maybe been like half hour since I last saw you. Why are you so small? Let me tell you, those sweets at the Golden Temple, well, if you eat 8 in a row, there's a strange power that makes you shrink. If for any reason you want to shrink, go to the Golden Temple. I'll be there waiting for you. Well, hey, we need to shrink in order to get into the hot springs. Isn't that a coincidence? We'll just go this way, the way that he went, because this will actually get us to the other side of the town where the Golden Temple is. It's right over here. So we actually have to be Ebizumaru for this. And then basically we're going to do a minigame. And basically, as the elephant is saying, 8 candy or sweets or whatever are going to... We're going to be like basically in this large cupboard. The sweets are going to fall from the ceiling. And we do have to do some stealth. Because... Oh, we only have 3 hits as well. So here's one of them. Well, we got caught because that robot was an asshole. And then that'll happen. But yeah, we gotta make sure that we don't get caught, and we gotta just collect 8 of the candies, and we win. And again, I'm usually not this bad at this, but it has been a while since I played. 3. Really? If I'm doing this badly, at least this doesn't take lives away from this. So that's an upside. But if I'm doing this badly at a minigame that I'm not normally this bad at, I can only I can only dread what's going to happen when we have to get Goemon's special ability. Because I do not like that minigame in the slightest. It's like the one part of the game that I actually hate. Yes. Alright. Oh, that was close. I don't know why they decided to put like a stealth section in the... I mean, it's a minigame, I guess, so it's not bad, so... But, something Hideo Kojima joke. There were a lot of games, especially ones that, from Konami, especially ones that Kojima worked on, where, like, stealth was just put in for, like, no reason. Like, I remember that shit with Zone of the Enders. And it's like, why? This is a robot game. Why is there stealth in it? Alright, so now we have the ability to become small by pushing the up C button as Ibisumaru. So we can head right back to the Dogo Hot Springs, and we can get in there. Yes, EO's Coffee Shop. I know the buttons don't do anything. I just keep thinking to myself, "Am I remembering this wrong? Is there really not a way to skip the cutscene?" But no, there is no way to skip the cutscene, unfortunately. These guys. Sit down. There we go. Just head back over here, push C up, while standing still, and we're small. And it doesn't cost us anything or anything like that. There's just really no reason to use it after we're done getting through where we need to get through. And another funny thing is the front of the hot spring is just a cardboard cutout, and that's why the door was locked so tight. Is because there's not really a door there. Someone just kind of put a standee in the spot to keep people out. And obviously, since there's bad guy robots, this is obviously where the bad guys are, and that's why they keep people out. Now, cool thing is that if you go into these hot springs and just kind of stay in here for a bit, this will actually heal you. This is like the only point in the game where something like that happens, but it's a thing. And you need to get to use the mini ABC to get through here. And I do want to point out over here, there is... I don't know if you can see it, but there's a cat in there. Oh, we can just get in here, okay. Yep, there's the cat. I thought you had to drop down from above to get at it, but I think I was wrong, or I might be thinking of something else. Let me look over here. No. I thought there might have been a gold cat over here that you needed to drop down from above to get. So there's a bit more platforming to basically get to the second dungeon. We're right outside the second dungeon right now, so I'm gonna get the chain pipe out and try not to fuck up any of these jumps. And also get rid of these scarecrows. Come on, camera. Alright, there we go. Well, darn it. The reason I jump and before using the chain pipe is for whatever reason, at least from what I've seen, doing that usually does kind of lock the chain pipe on. I mean, it could be just like a placebo or something like that, but usually it kind of like locks on to the star block and makes it a little bit easier to cross. That's on my armor, but again, no big deal. Mainly just got the armor for fun anyway. Alright, this is the Ghost Toys Castle. So there are ghosts in here, and there are toys in here. Joey's smile. Yeah, this is the second dungeon of the game, and this is the reason that we needed to get that flame money power-up. So we can light these torches. And this is the only, at the very least, the only required place in the game where you have to do something like that. So basically from here on out, it's not really worth using the flame money for anything. And there's a cat up on that, that head. I forget what those kind of dolls are called. All I remember was when we played Goemon's Great Adventure on YouTube, Greg and I were calling them Tom York. But I don't remember what exactly this type of doll is called. But it does kind of look like Tom York. We can grab the map, because why not? Thank you. Okay. But I don't want to walk the rest of the way. It seems like somewhat of a pain in the ass. So I'm just going to go over here. You can use this little platform, just skip the whole room. And it takes you right to some Dango, so... There aren't even any, like, cats on the way or anything like that. They just put a platform there to skip the entire room. So here's something that's neat. Once you kill all these Darumas here... so once you kill the Darumas... Jesus Christ. I mean, you gotta kill all the Darumas anyway to get the key to proceed. Now that'll take us through that door there. But there's also a peach over here. I can pick this peach up and bring it over here. A little elevator will take us up, and there's a little mound of dirt. We just toss the peach there, and it'll give us a lot of money. And I do believe this does respawn, but it's, again, not a, it's a less efficient way of getting money than just going back to the first dungeon and farming the first room. Oh, there's a gold cat over there, actually. We just gotta do some platforming on these shogi pieces. Press the A button, time to jump. And then you gotta do some tightrope walking. And that's the first gold cat of the game. Which just gives us another heart onto the life meters straight up. So that's kind of cool. Now, we can't go this way. I believe that way is locked, and we don't have a key. So we have to go this way. Now, if you'll recall, there was a crane game at the very beginning of the dungeon that we couldn't operate because the power was off. Well, this is basically going to lead us over to back to the crane game. Albeit in basically behind it so that we can turn it on. And that's going to give us an important item that we're going to be using mainly to progress in this dungeon. But not too much outside. There are going to be some other things that it can do that will be helpful for progression later on, but it's mostly going to be used here. Use drop life, so here's the power switch for the crane game. There's our silver key that we needed, and here's our next cat. There we go. And just over this fence, this is back at the beginning of the dungeon where we were before. So what you gotta do, this is kind of like the crane game from Link's Awakening. You gotta step on these buttons so we can get at that camera. I think I got it. It's kind of hard to see the shadow behind the glass because yeah, I got it. Because the glass tints the shadow so much, it's hard to see. This camera is the first item that Ibisumaru gets. And it's going to be useful because even though you have to charge it up to use it, it will solidify the ghosts, which will allow us to attack and defeat them, which is going to be important because there are certain rooms where we have to kill all the ghosts to get a key or whatever. But there are also going to be certain rooms where we have to take a picture and it will basically make an item show up or make a pathway show up. So let's just actually go ahead and swap over to Ibisumaru while we're at it, because we're going to be using this fairly soon. Nice. So back with the spears. Let me just pass through here. I don't feel like doing the peach money again. And then we can just go straight over here. Grab our Mr. Arrow. I don't think I mentioned what it did. I mean, it says right there what it does, but it's basically like the compass in Zelda games. It'll show you where the boss is on the map. Killing all those ghosts just open the way forward. And the music changed up a bit. So I think we're about a third of the way through the dungeon, maybe almost halfway through. The dungeons here are pretty short if you know where you're going. You do need to kill the ghost in this room for a key, I believe. Easier done than said, because they just kind of all group up on you and make a nice big pile that you can hit with the hammer. Very easy targets. Also, the red water, I don't know if it's like hot water or acid or whatever, but going into that is generally ill-advised because it will take away health as you stay in there. So avoid falling in if you can. Obviously, because I'm not as good at the game as I say that I am, it is inevitable that we will be taking damage from that. I mean, I use it for damage boosting sometimes anyway. Like I said, it is kind of hard to die in this game, but I still avoid it usually if I can. So I'm going to go this way because it's locked. I'm fairly sure I don't have a key. Right, this room. So gotta use these tops to cross this huge chasm of acid or whatever. Told you it was inevitable. It's actually probably easier just to jump from here. There we go. And this is in the interest of this is a pain in the ass. I'm just going to go ahead and just tank the damage on the way back. I'll be alright. I was kind of hoping they would drop health, but there is at least a full health dumpling nearby, I believe. Yeah, there's one in this room. Just kind of gotta navigate your way around. We want to go in these two back rooms here. Yeah, there's a full health dumpling right over there. I know that door over there needs a key, and I think that door over there needs a key, so we gotta go to that door over there. But I do kind of want to get that full health. Restore. Yes, this is one of the few points in the game where you actually have more than one locked door in a room. Because that one needs a silver key, and that one needs a gold key. I think it's just easier to go across here. Yeah, it should be. Well, shit. Well, shit. Oh well, I still have overall have a net gain in hearts there, so I'm not too bothered about that. Alright, let's hop up here. Okay, let's just take us right where we need to go. Oh, this one you have to take a picture. There we go. Oh, there's another one. There we go. That'll give us the silver key, I think? Yes. And there's a couple rooms past the silver key. I know one of them leads to the gold key. I think the other one might be optional. Oh, there's a cat right there. I should probably get that when I have the chance. And these ones, at least these tops here, the rhythm is a bit off. How they line up. There we go. Some treasure. But more money is always good. More health is good too. And then the next room over will have the gold key in it, which we need. Oh. Well, this one just like spells it out for you. And way to cancel my charge. That's real bro move of you guys. A+ class. Basically, this took away some sections of the floor, which if they were If the sections were still visible, like, as floor, you would fall through them when trying to cross. Like that. Or that. Because I'm just a clumsy oaf. That's why that happened to me. But with those sections taken out, I can at least better see where I should be walking. Let's go back through the jump ropes here. Grab that other cat before I go to the gold door. And if I tank the damage, I can just swim right to it, but I'll only do that if I fall in. If I can just jump over there normally, I'd rather do that if I can. Is there... Well, there's kind of an easy way to get across there. Or an intended path, I should say. Using those three spinning things. Alright, drop me off here. And then let's head across here. I could just swim for it if I really wanted to, but let's at least try this the intended way. Well, I tried. That's okay, there's a ramp leading right up to it. At least they throw you a bone if they, you know, if you fall into the water there. Make it a lot less of a pain in the ass, unlike some of the other dungeons will. I think this is I think it's a diamond key, actually. Not that it really matters, there's only one key that we can get right now, and that's in this room. But... Ooh, the billiards. So the goal here is just to, I mean, it spells it out for you which one to hit, but you gotta hit them in order. 4 is purple. 5 is orange. 6 is green, I believe, yes. Come on. There. 7 is the brown one, and of course the 8 ball is the black one. There we go. That should get us the silver key we need to progress here. No? Okay. There's some help over there. That's fine. Well, I'm good at video games, I swear. Now I really want that full health. Alright, there we go. Really? Really? You're gonna do me like that, game? I could have just walked up there the whole time. Alright, now I feel silly. That's okay. That was the camera that time. I'm gonna blame that one on the camera. Grab the diamond key. Let's just go back through this. I'd rather tank that than the water, because the water was going to take way too long to swim through if I decided to go that route. I believe this goes to the boss. Yes, it does. Now, we're going to want to stay as Ebusumaru for the boss, because we need our trusty camera for him. And it's a giant Daruma. I don't know what the surrender robot means, but this is our next boss, Darumanyo. And what you have to do is you have to use the camera, and that basically makes it so that he'll show his weak point every once in a while. You just gotta, you know, avoid his attacks until his weak point shows up again. And then hope you're close enough to hit it. The user does show it long enough for you to walk up to him if need be. But, if you really want to use range attacks, you can always swap to Goemon if you want to. I just usually stay as Ebusumaru because, you know, why not? And I do a lot of running around in some of these boss fights, because, it's just how I do. What was that? I've never seen him do like that before. I don't know exactly how many hits it takes to beat him, but get it eventually. Right, there we go. And there's our second MacGuffin that we've just been collecting these MacGuffins. They don't really tell us, at least the game really doesn't say what they do until like the end of the game. We're just collecting them for no reason. And here we meet our main antagonist, or at least one of them. And apparently these weirdos are just kind of this guy's underlings. This is Spring Breeze Dancin', and yeah, as he said, he's the leader of the Peach Mountain Shoguns, and does he spell out what his plan is in this cutscene? Like, straight up? Let me get through the jokes here. And he just, like, calls people the wrong names, and that's funny, I guess. Something, okay, they don't say what their plan is, like, straight up right now, so that'll come up later. We've met the big bad. That's pretty much what that cutscene was. A great stage plan. So basically, it's telling us not to go to Chugoku region, but so we obviously have to go. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in the Japanese version, a lot of these cutscenes are actually voice acted, but for whatever reason, they took the voice acting. I mean, it's mostly like the opening and ending cutscenes, but they took the voice acting out for whatever reason. It's not like they really needed. I don't know, maybe they really needed the cartridge space for maybe the because the Japanese language is, at least the written language, is more compact than the English one. Maybe it took up that much more space. But I do know that in Goemon's Great Adventure, they actually took out the like the intro cutscene like altogether. Which and also the Impact theme song cutscenes too, which kind of sucks. So the reason I'm heading back to Folky Poke Village is because there's a cat that I can get here now that I have the mini Ibisu ability. Let's swap back to Ibisumaru here. Right down here. Turn small and go into one of these hay bales. We'll have a cat inside. And as far as I know, that's the only one that's here that we haven't gotten. So I can swap back to Yay, and then we can go back to Zazen Town, because that's basically like the central hub of the game. Like, all roads kind of go to and from Zazen Town. Well, at least for most of the game. There's, like I said, when we head up north, that's basically from Oedo. But we do have to go back to Zazen Town in order to get to Jugoku. And there's the reason that we couldn't go to Jugoku earlier is because there was like a there was like a kid who put a security lock on the gate leading out of town, and I think he got captured because he could dance or whatever, and he wasn't around to take the security lock off. And now that he's back, he can take the security lock off of the gate and we can go through. I think that's how that goes. I don't know. Like I said, I don't talk to many people in this game because I pretty much know where to go. But this is the way we want to go, this way. Yeah, there's the kid. Here's another hot jam. There's a lot of hot jams in this game. Now, before we head to the third, because we're pretty much like on a beeline straight to the third dungeon, you may notice these cracked doors in it, and there's also a cracked door in front of the dungeon. Our next objective is to basically revive Sasuke, because as mentioned before, we have Sasuke in our group technically, but he doesn't have his batteries because he's a robot. And if we go to the tea house here, there's actually a couple of folks who will discuss where we can find these batteries. I'm not going to talk to them. But one is in the... there's a desert to the east, I think? Can I talk to you to... Yes, please. That'll give us some health back. So we're going east, right? South. Okay. No, south is the way we came in. Yes, east is where we're going. There's a desert to the east called Inaba, And that's where one of the batteries is, and then there's a shrine on top of this big hill here, where the other battery is. And then once we get those batteries, we'll be able to use Sasuke for really reals. While he normally uses kunai as his main weapon, he has bombs, which are going to be used to open up the cracked walls. Now, it can be kind of hard to find your way around here, because it's just like a big expanse of sand dunes. But the place we want to go is that oasis down in the southeast corner. So if you keep up your mini-map and just head in that general direction, you'll come across it eventually. And then you can just fast travel out. So I do remember when I was playing this when I was younger, I did get lost in here on occasion. But I also didn't always have the mini-map pulled up, so that was on me. There's also a cat over here. Just grab the cat because it's furthest away, I guess. Just grab the battery, and then we can just warp out. And because there's a tea house right in Izumo, there we are. And just head right back, and it's going to be quicker than walking back across the desert. Because we can just go right from that tea house up the hill to the shrine. I'm just gonna kind of find the path up just to make it a little bit easier on myself. I think you can just... Oh, there's the path right there. I think you can just, like, go up the hill. It really isn't... It's like a... It's not as steep as it looks. Actually, it is quite steep, so... We may just temporarily have Skyrim horsepowers, but, you can just walk up. I do need to swap over to Ibisumaru for a second. And we have to take a picture. The NPCs down in the tea house will tell you this is what you need to do to get the battery to show up. And then we just use these platforms to get on top of the tree and grab the battery. And now we've got Sasuke. And like I said before, Sasuke... I like to use Sasuke sometimes just because there's kind of a placebo effect that because he's small, it looks like he's running faster than everyone else. But he is still running the same speed as everyone else. But he does also have a couple of secret moves that he can use that nobody else really has a... kind of like a counterpart to, because he can attack with his hair if you use the Z button. I think if you hold B and push Z, you can shoot his hair straight up, and that can you know, attack enemies that are right above you. And also while you're crawling, if you push B, it'll shoot his hair straight forward. So he's the only character that can attack while he's crawling as well. Oh yeah, and we told him that as far as we know, the wise man died in an explosion, and that just makes him mad. I'm just gonna... Oh, he actually, he's so short he actually has to swim through this water. He does seem to swim faster than everyone else, though. So that's something. But yeah, if you hold down B and push C, let's do that. You crawl and push B, he'll do that. That's kind of a neat little thing that you can do with him. I do tend to use the upward attack if I do find that useful for when there's enemies above me. Now before we head straight to the that dungeon, I do want to backtrack a bit and open up some of those doors that we saw, but there's also a couple of areas that we kind of skipped over on our way to Izumo. They are optional areas that you can just pass through on the way to Izumo. But long story short, there's a few cats we can pick up this way. So since I want to try to collect all the cats if possible, you know, let's see if take the detour and just take them out, take them down, do your stuff. That's actually a golden doll. And much like the coin throw attack that Goemon has, the bombs do cost money to use. And I think you can charge them up as well. No, I'm thinking of Goemon's Great Adventure. In Goemon's Great Adventure, you can charge up the bombs, and they'll become bigger. Sasuke's other weapon that you get, we'll be getting in just a little bit. Or I say it will just a little bit. In the next dungeon, is actually one that you can charge, though. In fact, every character has a weapon that they can charge now that I think about it. Or at least sometimes have to. I think Abisumaru is the only one that has this chargeable item is the only one where you actually have to charge to use it. Because otherwise it just doesn't work. That's the camera. Yaya gets a bazooka that it'll just shoot forward if you just use it, but if you hold down the button, it'll lock on it. It's going to be a while before we get the bazooka, and we're barely going to use it. Damn it. There we go. Alright, so there's actually two cats in this area. One of them is over here, and you can probably just outright see it. Now, let me just... Yeah, I think it's just the animation just makes it look like he's swimming faster, but they're all swimming the same speed. I can't be asked to like bring on a timer or anything to confirm that, but it seems like the swimming speed is all the same as well. So that's the one doll. Now there is another one here. And it's basically on the other side of the area. Let's do that. Now, instead of going across the bridge right away, there's another side path we can take. Can we take it from here? No, we actually have to swim up there, I think. Yeah, we just walk up. So you just follow this path around. We actually have to swap over to Ibisumaru. Turn small, and then go under this outcropping. Turn big again, and grab this cat. There is another area that kind of stems off of this one, but I'm fairly sure that there aren't any cats in it or anything, so I might just pass through because it does sort of lead to where we're going anyway. Because the other door that we didn't go through in Izumo leads to the area where the third dungeon is. And I'm fairly sure that the other area that this place connects to goes straight there as well. That other area, I mean. So it may just be worth it just go through this area. Because otherwise it'd be just, like, taking 3 rights to take a left, basically. So we'll get to see Bitsumaru just kind of flail his arms around for a bit. That's fine. Just go right up here. This way I think just has some treasure. Yeah, some health and some money that we can take. And then the door in the northeast will take us to, I think that takes us to either Izumo or Bizen. But the one in the northwest, I think it's Akioshidai? And that's where the third dungeon is. Yep, here we are. I actually do like to play a Sasuke here. If only because these kite enemies can catch up with you, and I can just attack them with the hair attack to get rid of them. But we'll also be using him to open up the dungeon, so may as well just swap over to him now. Not have to worry about it later. Dungeon is just down here. And compared to the other dungeons that we've been to, this one is fairly large. It's split up into like the most areas, and there is backtracking involved with parts of it. It's kind of a pain in the ass to navigate. So this is likely, once we clear this dungeon, I'll probably call it, but I'll see what what the time is when we get to it. Because it's about 10 minutes to 11 where I am. Just swap over to the bombs, and then we'll go ahead and save. Festival Temple Castle, and head on in. And this is, when I was mentioning before, I meant to use kunai. I was mentioning before how there were some, like, things that could crush you and just straight up take away a life. These are it. They basically take your hearts all the way down to 0 if they squish you. But that also does mean that they will, if you have onigiri on you, which I do, it will trigger that. So if I get squished right now, it'll just trigger my rice ball and it'll refill, I think the plum rice balls refill 12, which I have, so that's good. Now I just gotta remember which is the right way to go. I can't progress further in here because I need Sasuke's next item. So I think I just hop over here. Oh, no, I gotta go in this caged area. This This dungeon actually reminds me of the last time I went to MagFest a few years ago. And they had a charity speedrun event going on, and they were one of the runs was Mystical Ninja, and they actually got up to the like right outside the boss door of this dungeon, and the game just hard locked because of a glitch that they were doing, and they had to like just cut the run there because they did not have time to start over. And because I think they were almost getting overestimated anyway, because there was a glitch that they were trying to perform to skip Benkei, and it took them like 20 minutes to pull it off. Like to the point where it would have just been easier to catch the fish. But they wanted to, you know, obviously show it off for the marathon, so they spent like 10 to 20 minutes trying to do the glitch before they finally did it. But then the game just like hard locked like at the end of this dungeon, and it's like, well, that's GG right there. I think I can get something up here. It's like a map or something. Yeah, there's the map. I know that there's at least one cat that you need to come back later to get once you have another ability. And then one cat where the developers intended you to have an ability before you came back, but you can just get it. And I will be getting that cat. But the other cat, I will be having to come back once Sasuke has his special ability later on. This leads to a cat. I just remembered some of the platform I'm gonna have to do later in the temple, and it's not gonna be fun. No, it's just some coins, which is fine. Coins are good. But yeah, there's a cat in this room. Somewhere over in the... Oh, the music's already changing. In that corner of the room. You can't get to it unless you can jump high enough, and we do not have the ability to jump high enough to get at it. No. This is too low, and the other way has a jump that's too low for you. So we have to go this way because the other way is locked with a gold block. And basically this dungeon isn't split up into floors, it's split up into sections. North, south, I think it's north, south, east, and west, or it's just like the north, east, and west, or something like that. Actually, I can take a look at the map here. Yeah, north, south, east, and west. And you kind of got to go back and forth between a couple of them because of how the keys are spread out. And not only do we get, well, we eventually get Sasuke's third item here. We'll also get Ibisumaru's. Although Ibisumaru's is actually optional. I'll show you what it is when we get it, but there's while you do need to get Sasuke's in order to progress in the dungeon, Ibisumaru's you don't, and it's a completely optional item that's really not really worth it, but I usually get it anyway just because I can. You know, if I'm not trying to rush through the game, I'll get it. It's like the same reason I'm getting all the cats and buying armor when I don't need it. Just because I can do it. May as well show off what it is and where it is, and, you know, in case other people are curious and want to get it. I mean, it's not really hidden or anything, but it is an optional item that you can get, and you can use it in very, very limited circumstances. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. is where I wanted to go. This does involve some platforming. Also, these guys are kind of a pain because they take 2 hits to kill. And they're all over the place. Yeah, this is one of the platforming parts that actually gave me a lot of problems when I was younger. And there's also another one much later in the dungeon as well. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I do want to come up here though because there is a cat, I believe. One of these directions is a cat. We have to loop around to get at it. Yeah, there's a platform there. There it is. Can't really maneuver the camera because the hallway is kind of tight here. And this is one of those games where the camera kind of acts as a physical object, and it's programmed in such a way that you can't necessarily spin it around through walls or anything unless you force it somehow. And I think that there are a lot of games these days that do that as well, but like this era of games was one of those where that kind of camera control was like really egregious, especially with like collectathon platformers and whatnot. I remember when Ukulele was coming out a few years ago, and it was like, you know, because it's the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. And they said they were basically going to make it. It's going to be like Banjo-Kazooie was back on the N64, and everyone was excited. And then everyone complained that the camera was bad. they're like, well, this is what you wanted. And then they fixed the camera later, and then that's actually around the time I bought the game was after the they put in like a huge patch not too long after launch and fixed a lot of the problems that people had with it. And there are still a lot of people who don't like it, but I actually liked it for what it was, so take that how you will. Some people like Impossible Lair more, which is more like Donkey Kong Country than Banjo-Kazooie, but I haven't tried that one yet. I think there might be something on the other side of this room. I'm just gonna see, but I don't think that there's anything of import over here. But it doesn't hurt to be thorough. Okay, yeah. This leads back out to the entrance to this building, I think. I think there's just life dumplings over there. I don't need that. At least not right now. I'll be eating those words later, I'm sure. But, for the time being, we can just head back out to basically find the next locked door. I think there's a silver door outside of this building that we can go through, because the main way that we want to go is blocked off by a gold key. Tanks are kind of annoying too. They also take 2 hits to kill. 3 hits. My mistake. 3 hits to kill. We need to go on to get out through there. Now, one of these sort of outdoor areas is a ladder that you can go up and then go all the way around like a cat or something. I'll know where it is when I see it. That's the gold door. The silver door is actually out here. I say out here. This really isn't outdoors. In fact, if you zoom in and look up at the ceiling, there's actually just ceiling there. We're not outside. Alright, here's where we're going to just walk around on the roof for a bit. And I think this is where we get Sasuke's item. I think Sasuke's item and Bisamaru's item are kind of in the same area. that's what I was looking for. This way leads to a cat. Eventually. Just have to go down to here. Oh, it's already gone to the third stage of the music. Wow. And there's... You can go down that door. I think that door leads to something important, but... Right up here... There's an extra life there, which is handy if you get crushed. I'll go pick that up just in case, you know, the worst should happen and I do get crushed or something. I thought there was a cat up here. Oh well. Extra lives are still nice. What's that in that door? See, this is now the camera's in the wall and is trying to get out. A lot of that sweeping motion was not me. That was the camera doing that on its own. Okay, actually, this is where Sasuke's item is. Still have the chain. Anyway, the kunai of severe cold. This is actually a throwing kunai, and it freezes enemies. And you can charge it up and shoot like a three-way shot. Kunai Intense Hail Beam is what that's called. It's just like a three-way shot. Alright, so let me get rid of these guys. So let me get rid of these guys. Because they're just gonna be in the way. Now we can do a sneaky. Sneaky sneak. We can hop up on this little barrier. This one must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. And we can hop over this fence. As far as I know, we are not intended to be able to do this without a without the aforementioned ability I was talking about earlier for Sasuke. But because we could just use that that barrier for extra height, and just hop right over. And this is just another one of those kind of long treks around the rooftops to get at a cat. So the cat's over there. So I think if you hop this way, then we can go around. Because that's a tall jump that we can't normally make if we just jump. If we had the high jump ability that Sasuke gets, we could do that, no problem. But just go up this way, we can get at it. And it is easy to kind of fuck up that jump or whatever, and you have to do all that over again, but I'm not too worried about it. I just gotta head back over this way so I can get back out. And then we can go into some of the other entrances for this building area. And I believe this is also where Ibisumaru's item is. Serpentine these taiko drums. Oh, got hit by one. It's okay. This is also where Mr. Arrow is. Yep. Let's grab the money. the way I want to go? I don't think this is the way I want to go. Oh, this is the way I want to go. Alright. So, with the Kunai Severe Cold, we can actually freeze these moving platforms. Because if we try to just jump on them the way they are, they're actually superheated and will hurt us, and we can't, it won't actually let us even touch them. It'll knock us off the platform. And I didn't mean to actually put myself in the water. This could be a problem. This not letting me... Okay, there we go. A camera? I need you to stop doing that. This is the platform that we wanted. Because this actually has a step over here. And Ibisumaru gets the meat saw hammer. It's basically a hammer that's palette swapped to kind of look like meat on a bone. And it's exactly the same as his normal hammer. The only difference is that normally when you defeat enemies, they'll either drop nothing, or they'll drop a health dumpling, or they'll drop money. And the meat saw hammer basically makes it so that whenever they drop money, they instead drop health dumplings. So the only drop that that enemies can drop with that weapon is a health dumpling. But they can still drop nothing. If they just, if they didn't drop anything, then they're still not going to drop anything. So I only really would use it in a situation if you're really, really desperate for health, and you really want them to drop health, because then they'll just make health the only drop, but they can still drop nothing. But other than that, it's not really worth anything. When we get weapon upgrades later, I actually have to go back to the beginning of the stage here to get the gold key, I believe. Because the thing that we really needed was the throwing kunai. But anyway, we will be getting weapon upgrades later on. And the weapon upgrade does not affect the... It will affect the regular hammer, but it won't affect the meat hammer. So once we get that that weapon upgrade, and we will be before the next dungeon, the meat hammer is completely worthless. This is just me being paranoid. Did I get the cat that's over here? Or could I get the cat that's over here? I did not. Okay. I have to go around the top balcony, which I can access once I get through the next area. Okay. Alright, I know what I'm doing. So if you'll recall that room that I entered briefly and then said, oh, I need Sasuke's item, that's where we're heading now. This is what I mean by there's actually a lot of backtracking with this dungeon, because you're just going all over the place in order to get, like, the one key that you need to progress. We gotta use the ice kunai and some platforming expertise to get through here. And then we have to go back through there on an upper floor, and we're going to do some more platforming to make that so. I think going out here... Okay, that's just the way back if we fall down. But I am still checking. I think this is also the way to get that cat. Yes, this is the way to get the cat. And it's a gold cat, too, so it's more useful to pick it up here. Let's just grab that. Sometimes that, depending on the angle that the camera's in, that works better than other times, sometimes. Alright, anyway, let's head back to, platforming hell. I do not like this part of the dungeon, because the camera really works against you here. Because you're going up on these platforms that basically line the walls. And when the platforms line the walls, that means that there are places where the camera can get stuck or won't behave the way you want it to. Like, this is fine. But, like, now it's kind of hard for the camera to get behind me here and stay, because now it's going to want to clip into the wall, and then it's going to want to swing all the way around so that it's not in the wall anymore, and it's... yeah. I am not fond of this area. And that's going to happen a lot. You gotta go through 2 rooms of this, and if at any point you fall, you have to come back to this room and start over. This is another point that I had a lot of problems with when I was younger, when I was still, like, just renting the game. I eventually did get to the point where I could do it in, like, you know, 2 or 3 times max, but it's still annoying as hell. I'm fairly sure I set this platform way too far. And the camera, and yeah. Doesn't help that, there's also some samurai armor up there, ready to attack me and possibly knock me off when I get to the end. That's always fun to look forward to. Also, oddly enough, it went back to the second iteration of the song when I started doing this area. Luckily, he didn't attack me. Now we gotta go through part 2 of this. And you gotta freeze these fox heads. These fox heads shoot fire at you. And they will knock you off the catwalk. Luckily, if you fall down here, though, you may just fall into the pit and then just come back where you entered the room at, but we got this final stretch here. And if you fall down here, you do have to start over in the other room. And I have done that before, and it is not the greatest. But we've done it, so we got to pick up this carefully. Get our gold key, finally, and then make our way back to gold key door, where we go into the final stretch of the dungeon. So this is going quicker than I thought it would, but it is still larger than like any of the dungeons we've had so far. No, I think I want to go this way, because if we try to go back the way we came, we can't exactly go back over those huge platforms that we first encountered, because of how their elevation is. Because we can just go this way anyway and go right back to where we were. So yeah, there was a lot of backtracking to get that key, but we're about to head into the ultimate section of the dungeon, so it was all worth it in the end. You can avoid these fox heads by just popping happen up here. You don't have to deal with any of that down there. It's just water. This is faster than swimming. And then there's nothing else really in here, so we can just go on ahead. And the platforming is not done. Because now we got this room. This is the room that leads to the room that leads to the boss. Because the room that leads to the boss is just like, you know, an empty expanse. I mean, I say empty expanse, but like there's nothing really to it. It just goes towards the boss room. But this is the this isn't as bad as the other platforming sections we just went through, but you can still lose a lot of progress if you fall. And it's not the greatest. I think that there is a drop-off point where you can get to for a cat as well. I just gotta remember where it is. Let's cross here. Let's cross here. Oh, let me take care of these guys. No, it's not. Something over there. Okay. And it's a good thing these mats are here because they're a good indicator of where the fish flags are going to basically swing over to basically as a pickup point. Kind of gotta go in the center here. Just grab this, and then hop on this other fish. And then you gotta jump up there. Actually, I think I know where the cat is. Again, I could be completely misremembering that there is even a cat in here. No, I'm misremembering. Alright, so we do want to... Whoa. Yeah, I don't want to be on, like... Basically, I don't want to be on the end of the tail the entire time, because that low ledge could have knocked me off. Camera. Camera, stop. Let me check on this side here. Oh, yes, there is more. Okay, there is more to get at the cat. Because there's a drop-off point here. And then this goes even further up. And there's a cat on that platform. There it is. And I think that there's some, like, fancy maneuvering that you have to do in order to be able to get back to where the boss door is. Sort of. I mean, let me try this. Yeah, I think I can just jump down from here, actually. Because this way doesn't lead quite back to the boss room. Yeah, I can just jump out from here. That's fine. Okay, so that's the Festival Temple dungeon down. And this door here is actually where the other guy's game froze. And all that's here is just swim across here, go up the stairs, and there's your boss. Says, return the red plates by hitting them back. So that's basically how to beat the boss. This is kind of a callback to the first boss in the Legend of the Mystical Ninja SNES game. where you have this boss that's spinning plates on sticks, and it will throw plates at you. Sometimes the plates will be red, and if they're red, just hit them back at the boss. These are blue, so don't hit those. And it's very easy to get hit by the plates because of the way the camera's positioned. It's kind of hard to... I mean, I'm sure that there are other people who have mastered this, but at least for me, it's always been kind of hard to just kind of be in a position where I can hit them back and not get hit in kind. But I have 12 and a half hearts right now, and if I lose those hearts, I can get 12 more with my rice ball, so I am not too worried about this this boss battle here. And this is going to be one more round of these. Oh, I guess another round. Eventually it'll go to another phase. Alright, here we go. I think this phase has green plates now, and she's just going to kind of throw them quicker at you. But the red plates are still come down at the same rate they did before, so they're still easier to hit. Just kind of do this a few more times. And much like Darumanyo, I do tend to just keep in motion around Tsurami. Just keep running, always be jumping. Well, not jumping, but always be running with action. Other JSR memes. She goes crazy. Throws yellow plates everywhere. Eventually she'll get to those red plates. We just gotta endure this a couple times. Still no big deal. Come on. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Another cutscene. We're gonna meet the first we're gonna get our special MacGuffin item that, again, I don't know why we're collecting these. We're just compulsively taking them. May as well. And there's our third weirdo. I think this is Sharon? Yeah. Without Sharon, Robot, we can't keep the power to the barrier that is blocking passage to Kyushu. Also, blocking is spelled wrong. I guess that's it for you. Why don't you just give up? Why are you blocking him from going to Kyushu? What are you planning? Alright, here's our other antagonist. We met Danson earlier. This is Kitty Lily. She's basically the other leader of the Peach Mountain Shoguns. I guess the second in command. Well, she seems to be on kind of the same level as Danson. So she's going to do her introduction. I think this is where we find out what their big plan is. I don't like that. I'd like to think that some of these jokes were probably funnier in Japanese, because they're just kind of throwing out canned laughter. Where, I mean, some of them, yeah, I could see where they would put that, but some of it doesn't really seem as intuitive, I guess. I think they might have mentioned before they want to turn all of Japan into their stage. That's pretty much what they're doing. And they've already converted Kyushu. So we gotta head to Kyushu as soon as possible. But yeah, I hear that Kyushu is in great trouble because they just told you, you dumbass. Kyushu right now. Well, I'm not going to head for Kyushu right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and call the stream. It is a little bit early for me to call it, but I also do want to leave enough of the game for next time, so that we're just not like doing the last dungeon and then have nothing left to do. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna actually cut off the desktop audio so that I'm bringing up my web browser here, bringing up Twitch, seeing who is available to raid at the moment. Quite a few people. I would say JSR, but he's been going for a while, so I don't know how much longer he's going to be on. How about you? How are you? Yeah, you haven't been on for too long. I'm gonna send you all over to Bedwa Blackburn. Bedwa is a friend of the channel. He's a super cool guy. He's doing a looks like a Link to the Past randomizer at the moment. Let's go ahead and set this up. Yes. So yeah, I'm gonna send you over to Bedwa. Show him some love. Super cool, super chill guy, and that's gonna do it for me for tonight. So next week we'll be coming back to this, and probably finish the game. But until then, I've been Captain Floofers, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?